How's my hair look? I'm not going to cut it till after the war. Now, I think long and hard a lot about the animals. My animals, I love my animals. I love to eat, I love food. And I want to survive through an event, a grid down situation, Third World War, Nibiru, whatever it is. I want to live through it. I want to flourish and thrive and survive with my group, my family, that kind of thing. Real animated. Life is your video game. And you can level up and learn all the skills, and you take the skills with you. And nobody can take those. Jackboots, people can kick my door and take everything I got, scare me off my land, but they can't take what I learned when I was here. I still got that. Thinking long and hard about how I'm going to feed the animals without feed, or when it gets too expensive, which it really kind of is now. I'm seeing reports and reviews from people about feed bags going from $18 to $30. That's unsustainable. It's going to go from 30 to 60. It's going to go from 60 to 100, and then it's not going to be available. It just won't be there anymore. So chickens, right? There's Carl Hammer, who's got the example of letting your chickens eat through the compost. He's got a large compost operation, so he can do that kind of thing. A lot of people can't do that kind of thing with their chickens, but you can let your chickens graze, find bugs, find food they need to scrape through the yard, the pasture, wherever you have them, if you can have them free-ranging. And growing inputs for them. Roaches. I breed roaches for my business and for the animals now. I got a big thoughts on getting large colonies going of the roaches. There's a lot of people that do worms, that breed worms and worm bins, have that for a feed input. Ducks too will eat bugs just like the chickens do. And also though, the chickens, now you got to think primal. You got to think old school. The chickens, they will eat meat. Okay, they will eat frogs, they will eat toads, they will eat lizards. It seems a little funny and out there and maybe cruel to some who aren't used to that idea, but you're thinking survival. Okay, these are extreme times. You got to give them every bit of input you can. And keeping them warm through the winter can help so they don't burn off as much calories, so they don't have to consume as much. In extreme scenario, I would have all my animals indoors. They'd be brought right inside into the rooms. I'm grow rooms. I've had animals. I have them in the house right now. I live with them. It's good. The little bacteria is organic. It strengthens my immune system and add little bugs to my biome. And that's how we build ourselves and our immunes up, and not poisons. That is what kills us. So chickens eating roaches, eating greens. I'll be growing greens in the greenhouse and the grow rooms for as long as I have the grow lights up, but I don't even look at this as sustainable. Let's go off right now. We'll not come back on ever again. We got gas a little bit, we got some fuel, tri-fuel generators. Neighbor's got solar, so I can work with him on a barter trade type of level. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. And use the solar, pump water, get the water we need from the wells. I even have a manual well pump that I could customize and hook up to our well system, to my well system, without electricity. We're going back to the Stone Age, guys. Peppered in with a little bit of Mad Max and dystopian AI takeover future. Yeah, just don't get sucked into the Borg. Understand that this real life right here is your video game. So ready, set, go. Get animated and achieve something. Act with conviction and will and, well, creativity and passion. It helps. It helps to be fundamentally clean food, clean water. And it sounds like so redundant, like you just keep saying it and you keep saying it, and I say it and say it to everybody I know in my personal life and on these videos, because to me it's like I don't understand. I don't get it. I can tell you that you're poisoning yourself. You can say, yeah, I know. And then you can go right back to consuming the same toxic stuff, like you don't change it right then, right when you learn that it's killing you. You think you would want to mitigate as much as possible, like, yeah, we can't get away from the air column. Breathing in the chemtrails. I can't control that, but what I can control, I'm going to. And why wouldn't you want to for longevity, youth, and health, cognition? That spirit, your energy, your aura, your vibration sits at a higher place. Your happiness, hormonal balance sits proper. Your brain function, your brain chemistry sits proper. It's all really good stuff, and it's lost on a lot of the percentage of the people in our world. And on like a psycho-mad scientist level, you can understand where these globalists and elites are coming from, wanting to like depopulate and get rid of all these low IQ people that are poisoning everything. They're really stupid, just throwing their trash, morally just gone and bankrupt. And that's got design all behind it. But still, you can understand where they're coming from. But what is a better vibration is, why not educate everybody that's stupid right now, that's eating the garbage? Why not educate them to be healthy? If you just put that on the news, like, hey, grow a garden, instead of all the fear campaigns and the agendas, people are so conditioned with mass formation psychosis that they'll just go along with it, like, oh, lead me. And then they'll go out in the garden and they'll go out in the yard and they'll start planting seeds. Tomorrow. You put it on mainstream news tonight, on every news station. Every store would be bought out of seeds by noon tomorrow. That's the conditioning and the warped mind spell casting. Like, attention span zapped. Chickens can be rationed. They will fight for their food. Make sure your animals always have good, clean water. If it's not frozen outside, if it's not snowing in the winter season, there's no excuse for why you couldn't go out and harvest pretty much 80% of what they would really need. With the rabbits too, which are herbivores, I got hay right now. I just stocked up on 20 bales for, I'm thinking, most of the winter. I may get more still, another 10. Harvesting in the seasonal months when it's warm, there's green foliage out there. Grab it, feed it to the animals, learn what everything is and learn what's toxic. Not much is toxic, but there is some stuff. You want to avoid stone fruit, leaves and branches. You want to avoid pepper plants and tomato plants. Those have toxins in the leaves. Grass and weeds, you can feed that to them. Just pull it and feed it to the rabbits, and you can have them and raise the rabbits just off of the grass. Kale and spinach are really good ones with protein, so I'm growing tons of those. I want to have those for all the animals with the roaches that I'm breeding. And that's bugs, so that's meaty. And those roaches eat scraps, regenerating scraps into roaches for them. Roaches need some heat. If you can get them 80 in the 90s for breeding, is better. 60s, 70s, and 80s, they'll still even breed. So if you can just keep them warm. Roaches like common dubia roaches. That's a good one. Just get those. You can breed your colony and get that going, and you get them in bins. I'll show you right now. See how it's got a screen cut? And that gives air. Then in here, there's egg flats. These are called Pantanella roaches. I sell them. Come to my store and buy your roaches from me. Links in the descriptions. You're ahead of the curve. If you're growing food at all in any fashion, not even with a homestead or animals or indoor grow rooms, I'm just a nut. If you're growing food in any way at all, you're 20 steps ahead of the curve already. That's trailblazing. You see what's coming and you're already ahead of it. That's what's so
it's like a bittersweet thing, because when the time comes and you get to say "I told you so," it's just like you're not even gonna want to anymore. You're gonna be like, "Damn, this is really real now. I don't even want to tell you I told you so because now we're actually in it." It's like a blessing and a curse, but really it's a blessing, because the prepping, you're preparing to survive through a time when everyone else is going to get flipped on their face. Everything's going to get flipped upside down, and you're already living in that realm. So you're going to be the king of the new world. And you get to make it through to secure your genetics for the next generation. So there's that.
Understand that what's to come are trials. Now, it's something to truly be optimistic about, because it's going to reset our planet if these major events take place. When they're seen through, if we're not fully enslaved or completely blown to ash, there's going to be a much healthier planet for us to rebuild. So if we approach it with that mindset, we do as much as we can in a local community, knowing that to learn the ways to do it right here, right now, within your own means, with no electricity, have that knowledge and then teach it to the community when the time comes, you can make things happen pretty quick. And it's actually pretty agrarian and pretty holistic, a beautiful way of life. Get out there and cut some waterways to irrigate the garden there. Use gravity water and it flows. Water, fire, earth, wind, the elements, like Avatar. Why not? Isn't that what this is? Isn't that what this has always been? Isn't that the whole reason we're like conditioned and brainwashed, so we don't realize our creativity? That we don't co-create, we don't realize that we're creators in this realm. We have some insane powers. The power to take Mother Nature's seed and multiply it thousands of times over for free. Just with these hands, these fingers, and your brain, if you use it. The rabbits, the chickens, and the ducks, they don't like so much the squash leaves, but they will eat them. Same with zucchini. They really like the blackberries and the raspberries. They love that, the canes and the leaves, and they love kales and leafy greens, love them. The root crop greens, they really love those too. They're more delicate, it seems, and they really are attracted to those. Cucumber, they like pretty good, and they eat that stuff down, as well as beans. They love beans. I had a lady on Facebook told me not to use grass clippings that are from a mower to feed to the rabbits, that it can be really toxic. Grass ferments when it gets clipped by the mower with the heat. That makes it harmful for the rabbits' sensitive stomachs. As well, you can harvest hostas. You can use those for the chickens and the rabbits and the ducks. In moderation, none of these things you want to feed them all of. You want to give them a mix of as many different things as you can for diversity. Have your neighbors collect, even for you, some of these things if they have them in their yards. I had a neighbor bring me a big old bag of weeds. Not weed, but weeds from his garden that he pulled them all when he did some weeding. I fed them to the rabbits. Make your own hay bales too. Make a template out of wood, like a box, and use string through there. Cram all the things in there after you dry them out on, say, like a tarp in the sun. And then you have your own bales. Seriously about the toads and frogs and lizards and snakes, and perhaps even fresh dead meat, something that's like roadkill or an animal of yours that died, can all be fed to the chickens, because they'll pick that apart. You can do the humane thing, kill the frog, kill the toad, the lizard, the snake, before you just throw it to the chickens for them to pick it apart, because that's not the best way to go out. Extreme survival scenario.
These are orange bell peppers. Coming in really nice. There's more that are green, just not ripe yet. Even though you can eat your peppers at any age, any size. You don't have to wait for them to fully ripen. Here's another one. There's another one there. Pepper plants, pepper trees, really, because they're perennial. They'll grow all year long, year after year after year, like a tree would in the warm climates, where if you're in a climate where you get cold and snow, well, then it's an annual. You have to replant it every year. Some pickings from the garden. I'm going to go to feed the ducks. I'm going to crush up these, break them down a little bit, put them in this bowl with some water so it's floating and suspended, all the leafy greens and things. Anything that's edible, I pick. Big variety. There's also leaves in here, fresh leaves that fell from the trees. We're going to go out there, we're going to watch them eat. Here we go. Set that there. And action. Looking good, mama. Keep it up. Good look. What are you guys doing? Get in here. Get in here right now. I like how they do that. All the juices from the leafies, tomato seeds. Young cats are crazy. Acting like they haven't ate before. I am rationing them a little bit. Every morning they're eating regularly. Everything's regular. So I can really get a sense for what everything needs at the scale it needs it. Oh, he wanted that one. Good one. Yeah, the black Australorps, I have 4 of those hens. They're in here. They're flighty and they go travel the bucket tunnel and then they jump out into the yard, so they gotta be in here underneath this netting till they're bigger. Then I'll probably move them back over to the chickens area. Sir. Very good, very good. They will enjoy that. Their pool is up here. And they splash and they splish. And it drains and runs down into the waterway. Emma, hey, Emma. See that naughtiness? She jumps in there. I gotta put the gate back up. Bubbles, you want me to turn on your waterfall? Okay. Emma, that was naughty. Whoa. Whoa, what is happening here? Caught in a damn struggle. Nice one, little one. Absolutely incredible. What's next? It's been about an hour since we put this in here. And they've just been flippering in there, doing their thing. They're eating it down pretty good.
A custom-made pelleted feed. You can make your own pelleted feeds with a pellet feed maker. There's a hand crank edition. There's an electric type that you can even get. And growing the inputs and then cranking them out into a pellet, that's another way. These babies are eating. There's 6 of them left. I sold a few. $50 each. It's a pretty good rate, right? The ducks, they're eating some of their grain feed. And then the waterways are filling up back there at the pool. Through the rabbit run here, and it cuts in here where I even put another channel right here through this bedded area. So now it's running this way. You can see the stream is cutting through here next to my corn, and it pops out over here through the beets, wraps around and connects back into this main channel right here, where it even runs along the backside and comes through down past my Swiss chard, and then cuts on over under through the yard into this rabbit run bucket tunnel, and then off into the strawberry patch, and then it cuts down past this raised bed into my new bedded area, and also cuts over into the potatoes and peppers and tomato patch over there. My thoughts now is to not use a pond liner, to let it build and pack naturally. It will compact and get hard, and the soil will hold water better over time. It has been. Also, when the ducks are up there cleaning off and splashing around, the dust from their food, anything that's on them, the minerals and things, wash down in through the waterway and add fertilizer to the places that it irrigates. Also, rabbit manure falls in here, so it's really nutritious water that ends up in these channels. See here, it stopped. Now it's got to continue the rest of the way. I have to get in there and maybe dig out a little more dirt from those channels to bring the level down. Here I can stop it up. I can stop the water flow where it's thin right here. I've done it a few times, and it increases the volume through this channel going this way. I'm working on getting the flow perfect everywhere so it fills up everywhere and I don't have to block it up. It runs back here and then kind of just stops here, and then there's a well cut here where the water falls into. When this thing is completely full, it does fill up now, which is really cool. And that's really nice there. And then over here it runs this way, down over here. I cut it through here, and it runs up next to my potatoes that I just put in here, and back this way. It stops there, and I'm gonna cut it in here and run another channel right through here where the tomatoes are now. That'll be good for now for this year until this pit is done, and then I'm gonna run a channel through the greenhouse to have water coming through there, and do a little more, finish this and get this working optimal. Potatoes and kale. With the rabbit grow outs here, they're leaving their manure in this channel where they're growing out, and it's easy to harvest, and I've been harvesting it and actually sifting it through here and sifting from inside the rabbit colony. I'm getting all the rabbit pelleted manure and getting it in a bucket to use as fertilizer, even sell it at some stage, get these productive enough. And the idea is just get in here and actually sweep this up into a pile, put it in a bucket and sift it. I have a method up front. Rotate those rabbits from the grazing area to that grow out area, back and forth, it lets the grazing area, the rotational grazing, heal, regrow, and it puts them in there where they can eat hay and things, and I can collect that manure. Up front here, this is my workstation where I do processing. This is all of the hay that I just picked up. It's like 20 bales. I'm gonna get another 10 compost piles that I'm building, as well as building compost in the back. And this is what I'm using to sift. It's kind of makeshift. It's the bottom is, it's like a hardware cloth and fine enough for the manure chunks to fall through, and then to keep the rest of the straw and debris out of there. And I put a bin underneath it, lift this up off the ground a bit, sift it through there. Works really well. It's just a rabbit cage. So I set that up when I'm ready to sift the manure. Here is my duck guillotine. I have to finish building because I have ducks that are about ready for processing. And it's a channel cut out of a pallet, and it's got to get a lid on it, and then it will hold the duck in place and allow me to build a mechanism to decapitate and process. Generators, my gate. Over here you see that's my rabbit guillotine I built last year, and it works really well with the blade. It slides down and cuts. Chicken kill cone. There is the hanger for the rabbit. This is the bucket full of rabbit manure. You see how concentrated that is. Not much hay or straw, any other debris in there except for the rabbit pellets. Now look at this. Break that down. One of the cleanest manures that you can get. I'm gonna go look up front here. Show you this. There is right there a blackberry. I transplanted a root from my bush in the back. And then there's also kales in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta put another one right here. It died. We'll go up front here. Pop my gate open. And I've gotten pretty organized. I've been working on quite a bit to organize and get rid of all things plastic. Now this bedded area in the front of the house right here is getting all this old landscaping pulled out now, and my neighbor's actually going to use it to backfill a spot in his yard, so I put it in buckets for him. Wood here, I got this rack for free from my neighbor. He didn't need it, and I found a good purpose for it, to stack all this old wood that I'm going to repurpose, that I got for free. That's a bedded area that I'm going to plant out here with kale by the day or tomorrow. Here are some raspberries, wild types, and there's a couple pepper plants throughout here, hot peppers, which are right here too. And then potatoes here, and zucchinis are throughout here too, with a few kale scattered in the back. You see that? That's a zucchini. There's another one here. No fruit on this one yet. Also, I put them at the stumps out here. There's one zucchini here, one over here. This is my cherry tree. Underneath it are strawberries, and I tried zucchinis, but they're not doing too good. They're really little. And then these are all apple trees. So there's my apple tree orchard. And there's strawberries there. And over here, my fence. So the fence is done. The fence is really nice. And then over here is this section along this tree line between mine and my neighbor's yard. I'm going to clean all of that up and get that, well, planted probably next year. So that's still to come. And I have a thought in the front yard here, in front of the fence, to build raised bed sections, rows of them. Boom, 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 boom. On out. And make use of this whole area where it really is a driveway. You can see the gravel, but I don't need this whole driveway. So I'm going to build raised beds next year. Then in the front, underneath the trees, all where this grass is, I'm going to do squash. It's going to take over a lot of the area under here. My neighbor did it this year in his front yard over there. I helped him. I put those in. And he got probably like 40 of them. Giant butternut squash. And I'm a little jealous. So I got to do the same thing next year like he did in the front. And then that'll be sweet.
Grounded. And even your preps, like the rice and the lentils, I just found out that chickens and ducks can eat them, but they gotta be cooked. See, the rice will expand in the ducks, and I think the chickens as well will expand in their stomach when it's mixed with the water in their stomach if it's not cooked. And the lentils have a compound that's got to be cooked out of there that's toxic, and it gets rid of it when you cook up all of the dry foods in water, boil them like you would if you were going to eat it, and then feed it to your animals, and the juices as well if you have to in times of toughness.
Check this out. This is all my goods. There's potatoes in here popping up now. So I'm actually super excited about that. You know, I had a couple deaths of rabbits in the past week, and I put them in these pots too so they will break down and add fertility to the soil and the crops that are growing in there. So there's that. And I actually did add a few eggs. So the same way you might take an egg and put a crack in the top of it and put it under your tomato starts in the yard, that's a way to add a fertilizer pack to your plants when you go to plant them in the spring or summer. Whenever it adds nutrients for the roots to suck up and put into the plant. I do the same type of thing with these potatoes in particular in the grow rooms here. I put a crack on a few eggs and put them in a couple of these pots. Because potatoes are such high feeders, they need lots and lots of nutrition, more so than like a kale would. So I went ahead and did that for them. With the cages around them, now they're going to grow up and through the cage. Look at this lemon tree. It smells like such beautiful citrus, and there's no lemons on it yet. It's maybe a few feet tall, and I'm waiting to see how it goes. It's got thorns on it though, which is pretty gnarly. I didn't even notice until I stabbed myself, and then I noticed. There's another one here in my avocados. Look at this though. Look at these peppers. Red habanero hot peppers. And so many are green right now, getting ready to ripen. And in here, check this out. That one's like orange, even though this is red. You see that? And wonderful, absolutely. I'm gonna go ahead and I've been eating these in my dishes the last few nights, and when they're all ripened, the bunch of them, I'm gonna make more powder, and that's gonna be amazing. The trellises this year are gonna get set up with Malabar spinach. I gotta get more red Malabar spinach seeds, because this is a vining spinach which will grow on the trellises, and then the spinach is high protein leafies for me and the animals, particularly the animals. Look at this over here. It is green sprouting broccoli, calabrese. And then this over here is some Waltham 29s. A couple of them died. One there died. That one don't look so hot, but the rest are looking okay. And then kales and kales. And my moringa tree isn't sprouting yet, nor is that one. Neither is my dwarf pomegranate. So I'm gonna have to watch those and maybe plant some more seeds for those. Green macerata cauliflower, red rock mammoth cabbage, and the snowballs didn't pop up. But cool, that's a good amount here of brassicas to go ahead and get into the ground for the fall. And then the kales too for the ground out there, mainly for the fall.